What's up, guys? Welcome to week number 30 of Goggins Force Training and week 6 of my meet prep training for the meet coming up in September. This was a good week. This was a good week of training. What you're seeing here is on the light squat day, I have moved back to the Duffalo bar. That way the box squats that I'm doing on the lighter week in briefs are more similar to my competition squat. That way I can get more practice with that specific movement pattern, since the way that I cue the safety bar squat is still slightly different than my regular squat. So this is going to force me to sit back into my hips just a little bit more and then really practice driving the chest up and out of the hole as the primary movement coming out of the bottom. So these all moved really well. I worked 8 triples at 315 and they all moved fast and felt relatively easy. Not like they really shouldn't at this point, considering the assistive gear that I'm wearing. So was happy to have those feel so good. I had talked to Steve over the weekend, and he said that he wants me to go ahead and keep hitting a couple singles in the wraps raw afterwards. The following week after this workout here, I'm going to be doing the heavy day in just knee wraps and not in the briefs. So I wanted to have almost kind of like a transition week, since last week I worked up to the last light workout I worked up to the 375 in the knee wraps, and that felt fine. Didn't have any pain or discomfort or anything. So what we had scheduled for next week is 2 sets of 2 to 3 at 460, but just in the knee wraps. So I figured I would work up to something in the low 400s just to kind of have an interim week, get comfortable with the weight on my back, and also just psychologically feel a little bit more comfortable with being at that weight range without having the briefs on, since those have become kind of my safety blanket with regard to the heavier training. So that all went really well. I ended up doing pretty much just singles after this. I took a few singles and doubles at 135, took some at 225, went 275, went up to 315 before putting on the knee wraps. All of those felt good. I had no pain or hip shifting or anything going on at those weights. So it was good. Made me feel pretty confident going up to 4s with wraps. So I took 375 for a single with the wraps on. That moved really smooth and easy. And then followed it with 2 more singles at 415 or 425, sorry. Felt like I could have gone up a little bit, decided to keep it conservative since I haven't touched that weight before, and I want to see how my body and my hip recover from the new stressor without having the support of the briefs. But the interesting thing is I found out that even with just a light wrap, I actually feel like I get more carryover out of a pair of knee wraps than I do out of the briefs. So those ended up being a pretty suitable way to spend the last more than 6 months training, because I don't feel any weaker in the bottom, or at least at 315 I don't. I feel the same as I did before. And then these heavier weights here, once I switched over to the knee wraps, really don't feel like much of anything at all. So that was pretty encouraging. Depending on the day, I've had some days where even in the briefs these weights just moved like shit and I felt out of position and everything. So that was not the case here. This is probably my better of the 2 reps. As you can see, this is nice and smooth. I have no weight shifting, no dumping of the bar, and I have a nice easy transition from the bottom. So hopefully all goes well with the following week of training, where I start to actually push the weights up without the briefs on. Hopefully I don't have any injuries or anything like that, but I'm trying to stay positive with it since everything is feeling really good right now. And just based on how they're feeling, I feel pretty confident about being able to still actually pull off a pretty decent total, but I don't want to play the numbers game, so I'm not worried about that too bad. So light pulls for this week, had 7 singles at 315 plus 80 pounds of chain, all done with the hook grip. These moved well, nice and smooth, nothing really to talk about with those. Positioning is still better than when I was pulling with straps. And then I decided to push the couple of the accessories a little bit harder, hit weighted chins, did sets of 10 at 1 chain, set of 10 at 2 chains, and then did a drop set here with something like 6 reps, 5 reps, and 3 reps, and 3 reps, or something like that. But just basically repped it out, dropped the chain, repped it out, dropped the chain, did that all the way back down to body weight. So I'll probably do these again next week because I felt pretty good, and it's nice to have a new movement to push myself on. And they did not tend to tighten up my shoulders or anything before the bench day, so that was also encouraging. This week was another down week for bench, so took it down to 315 for 5 sets of 5. Really working on technique and descent speed, which was the main thing. I was able to actually make a couple of small changes to how I'm positioning the bar in my hand. I actually loosened my grip up a little bit after noticing that I kind of naturally do that after the first rep anyways, and the first rep is always my slowest. So what I ended up doing, and you'll see it, a little bit of a difference. I don't know if it's going to be noticeable to the eye, but it felt significantly better. On the 3rd through 5th sets, I just kind of let the weight settle in my hand a little differently and loosened the wrist up a tiny bit while still maintaining pressure on the outside of the palm. That made the descent on the first rep feel significantly easier and a lot faster, and more, at the very least, more similar to the descent speed on my 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th rep. So that's something I'm going to have to keep messing around with. That's something I had observed in some of my other heavier bench sets where I end up shifting the hands just a little bit after the first rep, and it's something that I naturally do on the Duffalo bar, which is why I've been able to fix my descent somewhat on those days too. So I'm going to keep working on that. Followed the main bench work with overhead press. Took that up to 3 top sets of 6 with 225. Should hopefully have that up a little bit heavier next week as well. But I feel like getting my overhead press a little bit more priority and attention should help keep driving the bench up. So that is it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and check out savagegym.com or savagebarbellclub.com for more information on our programs and our facility. Take care.